Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and it's time for another retro review. So I was thinking about just doing manias, but I was in the mood for a more current wrestling show. So I decided to watch a show that, strangely enough, I never watched before. SummerSlam 2005. I never saw the Hogan Michaels match, so I decided it's time. It's like one of those shows that I think a lot of people have seen, but it's just you always have that one elusive show that you've never seen. So I never even got the DVD. It was always a show that interested me, um, and it's a pretty decent show. There's some weird things that happen on the card that I'm not really too sure why. We start off with Chris Benoit defeating Orlando Jordan for the U.S. title. The previous pay-per-view was the Great American Bash, where Benoit and Orlando Jordan had a match that lasted 10 minutes or whatever. It was like a regular, technical match. This time they went for the Ultimate Warrior. What was it? The Warrior and Honky Tonk Man, where the match ends in 20 seconds. He just puts the cross face on. It's basically over after two moves. It was like a way of surprising the crowd. They've done this many times. They had done it many times in the past, and we've seen it plenty of more times. It was a nice surprise. The thing was, I couldn't believe how long they had Orlando Jordan hold on to the U.S. title. I remember, I think it was at Judgment Day, they had Orlando Jordan versus Heidenreich. He was like a weird champion. Not a lot of charisma. I don't know why TNA, when they got their hands on Jordan, they thought they were getting a great asset. And Jordan was nothing to write home about, really, in the ring or anything. Just really like a plain, generic guy. He'd probably be a world champion today, probably a universal champion. If he was at the same age that he was, here in 2005 as he is now, the guy probably be a Finn Balor, for God's sakes. But, it was okay, an okay surprise to open the show, I guess. Edge beat Matt Hardy. I loved this feud at the time. I even remember when Matt Hardy came back. It was very exciting, a very well-booked feud. It was like a shoot. They hadn't done anything like this in a long time. They took a real-life storyline, and this was actually played out pretty well. And this was a really short match. I looked at it. It was less than 5 minutes, actually. But it was good. It was a realistic-looking fight. Matt Hardy bladed. It was vicious, and they stopped it. The crowd, hated the finish. They booed. They wanted more out of it. They wanted Matt to win. But we would see they would have a match on Raw, a street fight. Then they would have the cage match, and it was a good feud. They really had some good matches around this time, and it was they were fights. It wasn't just how it is now, let's have a regular wrestling match. No, this was a real fight. It wasn't they were gonna go and just do a bunch of flippy moves and shit like that. No, it was this. They just fought it was a fist fight. They were tackling each other. They were slamming each other into everything. This was a really this belonged on SummerSlam. This felt like a real big fight, even though it was condensed into a matter of minutes. It shows that you don't need 30 minutes to put on a satisfying match. Rey Mysterio beat Eddie Guerrero in a ladder match. This was very well done. Eddie blew one spot. I remember at the time, looking on message boards, and people said that ruined the whole match. They had another sunset flip powerbomb later on in the match that totally made up for it. Sick of people just because they blow a spot that blows the match. That's bullshit. I wasn't crazy about this storyline at the time. Now, I will take this storyline over almost everything that they have today, because at least it was a story and it meant something and it was a reason to have the match. I always thought that maybe it would be funny if they put Dominic, up there instead of the, the briefcase, instead like actually hang the kid up there. The first one to grab him is the kid's dad. It was a little bit strange that they would put the son in that situation, but I guess that the family was willing, and Rey Mysterio's so involved in the business, he actually went back to wearing his mask full time for them. But this was, it was, looking back on it, it's not a bad storyline. I don't know, I guess I was being a bit smarky at the time. I didn't want these, crash TV angles, but really looking back, I like the storyline, and I like the feud a lot more and appreciated than I did in the past. It's pretty stupid back then, because it was actually really good. Kurt Angle defeated Eugene. I don't know why they had this match. Like, I felt like it was a waste of Kurt Angle. Not crazy at all about Eugene and the whole retard gimmick. It was, interesting to watch, but at this point it had already been played out. He had been playing this character for over a year already, and it had already run its course. Eugene had taken Angle's medal, and he got it back. He just basically blew through the guy in like 5 minutes. Another, it was like pretty much identical to the time of Edge and Matt, but not as good of a match. Angle looked good here, but it was a squash. I don't really see what the point of having a squash match was when you already had a squash match to open the show, basically. It was a longer format squash match, but still, it really wasn't that necessary. Orton defeated Taker. This was a really good match. I don't really remember if this was better or the WrestleMania 21. Again, this was another feud where I remember I was getting a little bit sick of it in 2005, but looking back on it, it is, I think we've just been through so much terribleness. It's also maturing. You start appreciating things. I've noticed as you get older. I've noticed this quite a bit, versus being 18 versus being 29 now. It's like a world of difference. Like, I love this match. I remember I wasn't even too crazy about their match at WrestleMania 21, but now this match makes me want to go back and watch the previous one. I felt like the crowd really didn't care here. I was really like listening in on the crowd. And when Orton hit the RKO, there was no shock that he beat Taker. I guess people were expecting it because Taker had already beaten him at WrestleMania. Maybe they were expecting it to be evened out. But I don't know. I felt like the crowd really just... I don't know. It wasn't like the crowd was worn out from, Kurt Angle, Eugene. They just didn't really seem like they gave a fuck. But... I mean, it's not going to ruin the match for me. I just didn't understand the crowd's response. I was like, are they alive? Orton, this young kid, just pinned Taker, which is something that doesn't happen too often. They don't really care. Cena defeated Jericho to retain the WWE title. Given the antics with Eric Bischoff, I thought maybe there would be some, like run-ins or something here. I didn't even really remember what really happened in this match, like the next night on Raw. Like, I know that that's when Jericho got fired, but, I forgot what they had said, what happened in this match, so I was expecting some run-ins or some distractions to at least, help Jericho out, him being the heel. It was, it was a good, decent match, but I kind of expected more here. More hijinks from Jericho, some more trickery, but it was strangely very, very straightforward. There was not a lot that went on here that was really out of the ordinary. But it wasn't boring or anything. Like, I was entertained, but I was just expecting a bit more from such a high-profile match. Batista defeated JBL. This was a good match. I really liked this one. It was under 10 minutes, but it was really good. they did the barricade spot that's very played out nowadays, but here it really fit. These are like two big dudes plowing through the wall. The finish is awesome with the power bomb on the steel steps. This is a great match. Personally, I really like JBL as a champion. You know, I know a lot of people, a lot of the smarks hate JBL and everything, but you know, it was, I liked him in the main event. I bought him as a main eventer. I bought him as a main eventer even back in 2005. Like, I was happy to see JBL get his comeuppance. I mean, I really always thought that the guy had a lot of potential. And, man, like, you look at the clothesline that he gave Batista in this match, and you know, like, now, there's a guy that deserves to be in the main event. Who hits a clothesline like that? That's why JR coined the term clothesline from hell. The guy's got one of the best clotheslines, and he hits it here. Phenomenal. It's a good street fight, no holds barred match. I think it's kind of underrated. And I remember JBL even talks about it from time to time, talks about how he was Batista bombed on the steel steps, and well, this is that match. And I really like, you know, the touch that they added at the end. Batista, he hits the normal sit out Batista bomb, but then he like doesn't want to cover him. He's looking at the steel steps. He picks him back up, and then he just power bombs him right on there. Nice touch, nice finish, nice match. It was good. This was better than the Cena Jericho match, which was a little bit too straightforward for a big SummerSlam main event. They should have threw in a couple of more interesting things. And in the main event, Hogan defeated HBK, Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels, and I was not disappointed. I should have watched this match years ago. I should have watched this match, should have bought the DVD when it first happened. Loved this match. This match was like, wow. It was, when you talk about an eventful match, these guys, like, they went everywhere. Hogan, I gotta tell you, he might not be a great wrestler, but this guy's willing to do stuff in the ring, even at his age, like here. I mean, at his age, I mean, think about this. This was 12 years ago, and he's, he took some chances here and there in it, but it still felt like a safe match. Hogan bladed, which is like outrageous when you think about that. Like, he thinks he's like Ric Flair, like an old man blading. Shocking. But, a lot of people said that, like, Shawn Michaels tried to ruin this match by overselling. Okay, didn't Ric Flair always oversell every single time he was thrown into the turnbuckles when he would flip and fall and shit? What was so wrong with Shawn Michaels when he takes a big boot that he, runs around and falls? I liked it, actually. You want to call that ruining a match? I say it adds charm to the match. I mean, Hulkamania is a different thing. It's like, what culture, I watch their videos and stuff, but they don't get wrestling. Let's be perfectly honest. Just like a lot of smarts and a lot of people nowadays, who are fans of Kevin Owens being the champion and shit like that, and hate on Cena every single minute of the day, like that's the only thing wrong with the product. They don't get it, okay? They don't understand wrestling. They'll never understand Hulkamania. They'll look at Hulkamania and they're like, this balding guy wearing red and yellow, who doesn't know that many, moves, and he doesn't do a somersault plancha, with 3 rotations in it off a balcony. They're like, I don't understand the appeal of this guy, and you're never going to get the appeal. But this was, to me, this was a great match. I mean, you've got Shawn Michaels in there, which is probably one of the best performers ever. And Hulk Hogan, one of the best entertainers ever. It was the perfect recipe. Yeah, they were originally supposed to have 3 matches, and Hogan didn't want to have them. He just wanted to win here. Whatever it is, I hear a lot of rumors. I don't really hear anything directly from them. I don't know how accurate what culture's information is. I've never really heard that many people talk about, what's really on their minds. But anyway, whatever. Fuck that. I enjoyed the match. You can complain about it all you want. I don't, I liked it. And the crowd was really into this match. You could criticize it all you want, but at the end of the day, if you see the crowd is really into this match, and they're, half of them were for HBK, half of them were for Hogan, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. What a great main event. So this was a really enjoyable show. There was nothing bad on the show. There were a couple of things that were, like, not that great, and, well, like I'm saying, like Jericho Cena, it was a little bit too straightforward, but still a good match, still a good wrestling match. And, hey, the commentary teams. Michael Cole was so much more motivated when he had Taz on commentary with him, and JR and the King, and, well, sometimes I wish it was just JR and the King and not Coach, but Coach was alright. Coach was still better, than Coach is still better than Michael Cole or David Otunga, better than half these guys commentating, better than Byron Sex Addict, right? So there you go. It's a good pay-per-view. I give this pay-per-view, I give it an 8 out of 10. I mean, you look at the Michaels Hogan match, and this pay-per-view like goes up astronomically in the rating. I mean, that is an awesome match. That is a fun match. That is an entertaining match. And it's a memorable match. It's a match that actually should be talked about a lot more than it is. But there you go, folks. SummerSlam 2005. Great SummerSlam. All right.